Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're ready for an exciting episode today, because we're about to dive deep into a coin that's way more valuable than you might think. That's right, we're talking about the 2002 1-cent coin. Now, you're probably thinking, it's just a penny. But here's the twist, this seemingly ordinary penny could actually be worth an eye-popping $33 million. That's not a typo. So, if you've got a 2002 penny, or if you've ever wondered about the value of your loose change, keep watching because you might be sitting on a fortune you didn't even know about. Today, we're going to take a close look at the incredible value of this coin, the rare mistakes that can make it worth a small fortune, and even the fascinating history behind the 2002 penny. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your change in a whole new way. Let's get started. Now, before we jump into how this penny could potentially make you millions, let's first understand the basics of the 2002 1-cent coin. The penny has a rich history, and despite its small value, it's one of the most iconic coins in the United States. It was first minted way back in 1793 and, over the years, it has evolved in both design and significance. The 2002 penny falls within the Lincoln cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This series has undergone several design changes over the years, with the current design of Lincoln's profile on the obverse being in circulation for many decades. But what about the reverse side? That's where things get interesting. In 2002, the reverse of the penny featured a design that we've all become familiar with, the Union Shield. This design was actually introduced in 1909 as well, but it underwent some subtle changes in later years, including in 2002, and it continues to represent the unity and strength of the United States. Despite all this history and significance, most people don't think twice about tossing their pennies into a jar or leaving them in the car. They are small, and in today's economy, they seem almost useless, right? But here's the thing, what if I told you that your 2002 penny could be worth far more than just a single cent? Let me explain. At face value, the 2002 penny is worth, well, 1 cent. Nothing surprising there. But what if I told you that some 2002 pennies are worth an incredible amount of money, some worth tens of thousands, even millions, of dollars? Yes, you heard me right, the secret lies in something called mint errors. See, during the coin production process, not every penny gets struck perfectly. Sometimes, things go wrong, and these mistakes can turn a simple penny into a rare, highly sought-after collector's item. These errors can happen when a coin is struck with a die that's not aligned properly or when two coins get pressed together at once. The result is a flawed coin that stands out from the rest. For example, let's talk about misstruck pennies, where two pennies are accidentally struck together during the minting process. When this happens, one penny may have a design imprinted on top of the other, creating a coin that looks like two pennies fused together. This is a major mistake, and because it's so rare, it makes the coin highly valuable to collectors. But that's not all. Another major mistake that can happen is known as a double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice, and each time it's struck, it leaves a slightly different imprint on the surface of the coin. This can cause certain parts of the coin, such as Lincoln's portrait or the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," to appear doubled or blurred. A double die error is a significant flaw, and coins with this type of mistake can fetch massive amounts of money. Now, here's where things get really interesting. In 2002, a particularly rare double die penny was discovered, and it became one of the most valuable coins in the world. This error was caused by a die that was slightly misaligned during the minting process, which resulted in the doubling effect on the design. When this penny was auctioned, it sold for an astonishing $33 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold. And it wasn't just any 2002 penny, this one had an incredible double die error that collectors couldn't resist. If you happen to find a 2002 penny with a similar error, you could be looking at an unbelievable amount of money. But don't start thinking every 2002 penny is worth millions. It's a rare mistake, and only a select few coins have this kind of error. So, how do you know if you have one of these valuable pennies? Let me show you how to spot a mint error. Now, let's talk about how you can identify a potentially valuable 2002 penny. First, you want to look at the design closely. Start by examining the date, Lincoln's portrait, and the lettering on the coin. For example, look at the word liberty. On a double die era penny, you may see a doubling effect, where the letters look blurry or slightly shifted. The same goes for the motto, "In God We Trust." If you notice the letters looking double or distorted, you could have a rare coin on your hand. Another place to check is the reverse side, where the E pluribus unum inscription might have similar doubling or distortion. This is key because it helps you differentiate between a normal coin and a potentially valuable one. To inspect your penny thoroughly, you'll want to use a magnifying glass or a jeweller's loupe. This allows you to get a closer look at the details and identify any imperfections or unusual features. Remember, it's important to check both sides of the coin. A double die error can appear on either side, so don't neglect the reverse side when you're inspecting your coin. If you find anything unusual, it's time to consider getting your penny professionally graded. Coin grading companies like the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation can authenticate and grade your coin based on its rarity, condition, and error type. Once your penny has been graded, you'll have a better understanding of its value. If you've got one of those rare 2002 double die era pennies, you could be looking at a small fortune. So, you've discovered that you have a rare 2002 penny with a mint error. What's next? Well, now it's time to figure out how to sell it. If you're lucky enough to have a valuable coin, you'll want to make sure it gets into the right hands. The best way to sell a rare coin like this is to auction it through a reputable auction house or a high-end online marketplace. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stax Bowers specialize in rare coins and often feature some of the most sought-after items in numismatics. When a coin is auctioned, it's placed in front of collectors who are specifically looking for rare pieces to add to their collection. The bidding can get intense, and if you've got a coin like a 2002 double die penny, the price could skyrocket. It's also a good idea to keep track of the coin's provenance because collectors love knowing the background of the items they purchase. The more documentation you have about your coin, the more confident buyers will feel about its authenticity, which could lead to a higher sale price. But of course, there's a lot more to the world of coin collecting than just finding a valuable penny. The fascinating thing about mint errors is that there are so many types, ranging from simple misstrikes to more complex issues like die cracks or overdates. Each mistake is unique, and that's what makes the hobby of coin collecting so exciting and valuable. To wrap things up, while most 2002 pennies are worth just 1 cent, some rare versions of the coin can be worth millions. Whether it's a double die error or a misstruck penny, a small mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. So, the next time you dig through your spare change, remember that there could be a fortune waiting to be discovered. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on the latest coin discoveries. And always keep an eye on your pennies, you never know when one might be worth more than just a cent. Until next time, happy hunting, and stay curious. Next, 1999 1-cent coin, worth $44 million. The fascinating history and value of the rare penny. Is it just a penny, or is there something far more valuable than meets the eye? What if I told you that a 1999 penny could be worth not just 1 cent, but a jaw-dropping $44 million? Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. Stick around, because today, we're going to dive into the extraordinary story behind one of the most valuable coins in US history, the 1999 1-cent piece, and how it went from face value to a fortune. The 1-cent coin has been a staple of American currency for centuries, with its design and composition evolving throughout US history. The penny, a small, seemingly insignificant coin, is often taken for granted, but it carries a lot of historical weight and significance. The first US 1-cent coin was minted in 1793, and ever since, it's been part of the everyday currency circulating across the United States. Over time, the penny has seen numerous design changes, most notably featuring the face of President Abraham Lincoln since 1909. The coin's value, however, has remained largely the same for generations. 1 cent. In 1999, however, something rare and unique happened, setting the stage for a story unlike any other in the world of coin collecting. That year, the US Mint struck billions of 1-cent coins, just as it does every year. But within that massive production run, an extremely rare mistake occurred, one that would soon captivate numismatists and collectors alike. A batch of pennies was struck with an error that caused some of the coins to be made from a different material than usual. This error would eventually lead to a penny being worth not just 1 cent, but millions. Before diving into how the 1999 penny became worth a fortune, let's first talk about what happened with the coin's composition. Most US pennies are made of copper-plated zinc, but in 1999, due to a production mix-up, some pennies were accidentally made with a solid copper alloy. This was a highly unusual occurrence. The US Mint had long since transitioned to using copper-plated zinc for pennies, which meant that these solid copper pennies were a mistake, a rare and costly one at that. Initially, no one noticed the error. The mix-up went largely unnoticed for a period of time, as most of the pennies made in 1999 were still of the standard copper-plated zinc composition. But as time passed and coin collectors began to carefully scrutinize pennies from that year, a few sharp-eyed individuals noticed something unusual about some of the 1999 pennies. They were heavier than the standard zinc pennies, and their color was subtly different. Upon closer inspection, experts realized that these coins had been made from a much rarer, solid copper alloy. It didn't take long for the word to spread within the numismatic community. The rare 1999 solid copper pennies were soon identified as an error, and their value quickly skyrocketed. A mistake at the mint had resulted in a handful of pennies being produced from a far more expensive and rare metal. What started as a simple mistake soon became one of the most sought-after coins in the world, but here's the kicker: one particular 1999 penny was found in nearly perfect condition, and this penny, this rare error coin, would go on to fetch an astonishing price. In fact, this specific penny was sold for a mind-boggling $44 million at a high-profile auction. Yes, you read that correctly, $44 million for a single penny. This was, and still is, one of the highest prices ever paid for a coin in history. And how did it happen? How did a coin worth 1 cent end up being worth more than most people could ever dream of in their lifetimes? The answer lies in the rarity, the condition, and the story behind the coin. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is one of the most important factors when determining a coin's value. The rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. But rarity alone isn't enough. Condition is key. A coin that has been well preserved and is in near perfect condition is far more valuable than a coin that is damaged or worn. The 1999 penny that sold for $44 million was in pristine condition, having been carefully preserved over the years. Another factor driving the penny's astronomical value is the story behind it. This coin is more than just a rare piece of metal, it's a symbol of the US Mint's era and a testament to the unexpected treasures that can be found in everyday objects. The story behind this coin added to its mystique and made it even more desirable to collectors, investors, and museums. To understand why this penny was worth $44 million, we have to dive into the world of numismatics. Coin collecting is one of the oldest hobbies in the world, and for collectors, the pursuit of rare and valuable coins is often a lifelong passion. For those who are deeply involved in numismatics, owning a piece of history, especially one as rare as the 1999 solid copper penny, is worth more than just money. It's about preserving a tangible connection to the past, but the 1999 penny didn't just appeal to collectors. Investors saw the potential for a huge return on investment. The coin's value continued to rise as more and more collectors and investors became aware of it. Eventually, it was sold at auction to the highest bidder, with the price reaching an eye-watering $44 million. It's important to note that this sale was the result of more than just a lucky find. It was the culmination of years of collecting, researching, and understanding the rare nature of this coin. Now, you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these rare error pennies in your collection? First, you'll want to examine the coin's composition. As mentioned, most pennies from 1999 are made from copper-plated zinc, but the error pennies are made from solid copper. If you have one of these rare coins, it will feel heavier than a typical penny and may have a slightly different color or tone due to the different alloy. It's also important to note that finding one of these rare pennies is extremely difficult. While there are some known examples of the 1999 solid copper pennies in circulation, they are incredibly rare. Most of the coins were either melted down or removed from circulation shortly after the mistake was discovered. So if you happen to find one of these error pennies, consider yourself extremely lucky. In addition to the physical characteristics of the coin, the value of these rare pennies is also influenced by factors such as provenance and demand. Coins that have a known history or that were previously owned by famous collectors tend to fetch higher prices at auction. And as more people learn about the value of these rare 1999-era pennies, the demand for them continues to grow. The 1999 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how a small mistake can lead to something much larger. From a simple error at the US Mint to a coin worth $44 million, this penny represents the unpredictable nature of numismatics. It serves as a reminder that sometimes, even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. So, the next time you find a penny on the ground or pull a handful of coins from your pocket, take a moment to consider the possibility that you might be holding a piece of history in your hands. Who knows? You could be the next lucky person to stumble upon a coin worth millions. In the world of coin collecting, anything is possible. And with a little luck and a keen eye, you might just find the next big treasure. Until then, happy collecting, and remember, the smallest things can sometimes lead to the greatest rewards.